The purpose of this video is for you to be able to identify the number of sig figs within a measurement. Sig figs really tell you when you look at a measurement, or significant figures tell you what numbers have been measured. Therefore, its definition is a number that reflects certainty within measurement. Now, this measurement of 35,000 grams only has two significant figures. It's these two. They show certainty where the other three do not. Now, there are three basic rules as to what's a sig fig and what's not a sig fig. First rule is all non-zero numbers always reflect certainty. They're always significant. So let's say I had 34, 1, 2, two significant figures. 398 milliliters, it's going to have three significant figures. Second rule is that place-holding zeros are not significant, and that's when the zeros look like one of three things. The zeros look like this, that has one significant figure. When they look like this, or like this. Now, non-place-holding zeros are significant. Now, here you're going to have three significant figure, because when you write the number with the decimal, you're saying that you've measured all of the numbers. These two zeros count because they're sandwiched between two non-zero numbers, so that would be 3. These zeros here count because there's a decimal there, and then a number, and then the zeros. So it's showing you that these numbers were measured because they're after a decimal and after a non-zero number. And finally, these all count because, once again, you've definitely measured the 1, and then you've got these three numbers after it. Now let's look at some measurements. Let's say the sun's mass is 1.989 10 to the 30th kilograms. How many sig figs would this actually have? That has 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, because they're all non-zero numbers. The temperature of this coffee, if I said it's 30, I really am only, this is only has one significant figure, and it's only this one. You only measured that one, not the 0. Now, if I measure it again, and this time I get this, that would have 3 significant figures, or 3 sig figs, because I'm writing the number, I'm representing the measurement in a different way, because I would have measured all 3 of these. Now, let's say this width of the stain was 5. I measure it and I get it to be 5.70. That would have 3 sig figs, because I have 2 non-zero numbers, a 5 and a 7, and then I have the 0, which is past the decimal. Now, this number would have 2 sig figs, because I've got a non-zero number, and then I've got a decimal and a 0. So that's showing you, hey, I measured that. Now, this volume, 305, it would have 3 sig figs. Let's say I wanted to measure how much silliness somebody had, and I hooked them up to a machine, and I got this. This has got 1 sig fig. Now, as you can see, this is well above the acceptable level, so that might be a little cause for concern, because this one only has got 1 sig fig, and it's showing that this amount in him is much higher than the 58.3. So we hook them up to another machine and we test them again, and this one still only has one sig fig, and it only measures it in the tens place value. So, once again, Dr. Square is concerned because his friend has got an unacceptable level of giggles. So they mix them up to a third one, and this time we get a number where we know the number a lot better, and we get 56.89. So that's still a little bit above the thing, but it's much closer than what we originally thought of 100, which makes it seem like it's very far away. So the more sig figs you have in the number, the better you really know your measurement. Now, let's say I measured the thickness of the scale. Now, this is not of the sail. That's not across. That's how thick it is if you were to rotate this at 90 degrees parallel to the ground. This only has one sig fig, and the sig fig that it has is right there. That's 7. The 0 does not count. It's not significant. If I measured the mass of this T, and I got it to be 1.008 kilograms, that would have 4 sig figs. They all reflect measurement because I've got 2 non-zero numbers and 2 zeros in between those non-zero numbers. Finally, while Professor Sphere is doing a little testing on this roller coaster, he figures out that the wind speed is 0.0090 miles per hour. That has got 2 significant figures, and the 2 that count are these 2. They reflect certainty within the measurement.